time it is. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
And we are live. Greetings to our loyal WFYL listeners around the world. Welcome back to your Philadelphia live stream, only on the Freedom Station. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in once again, because you still have the right to hear and the right to be heard. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mike G. As always, with me are Philly Chris, Russ the producer, and Liberty Lee. And you're listening to Mike G in the Morning with The Law Matters. And you can listen to our program every Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern, only on the Freedom Station, WFYL. So let's be heard. I want to remind our listeners that you can participate in the free and open exchange of thoughts and ideas throughout the entire week by visiting MikeGinTheMorning.com. What's it called, Philly Chris?
MikeGinTheMorning.com.
How about you, Russ?
MikeGinTheMorning.com.
Liberty?
MikeGinTheMorning.com.
You can check out all the shenanigans that Mike G and Philly Chris are up to. You can see all of our social media platforms. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell your barber, tell your Uncle Jerry, tell anybody who'll listen to check us out at MikeGinTheMorning.com. Philly Chris, have you told your barber yet?
I don't have a barber these days.
Have you lost touch with them?
Yeah, I'm my own barber. And I tell myself all the time.
I also want to remind our listeners about the powerhouse lineup we've got here at the Freedom Station. Kick off your mornings with Scott Adams. Bring you the Scott Adams Show weekdays from 9 a.m. until 11. We've got Dan the Man Bongino. Bring you the Dan Bongino Show weekdays from noon until 3 p.m. He is the headliner. Intellectual giant Ben Shapiro brings you the Ben Shapiro Show weekdays from 3 to 5 p.m. And finally, we love having him at the Freedom Station family. We've got Michael Knowles bringing you the Michael Knowles Show weekdays from 5 to 6 p.m. So don't forget to tune in and show him some love. And with that, you know what time it is. Buckle up and enjoy the ride. Hit it, Russ.
You know what time it is. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
You know, before we get to our discussion for this evening, the Halterman case out of Monroe County, I want to revisit something we've spoken about on this program in previous weeks with Russell's journey to fitness. Russ, have you been on your journey to becoming Johnny Bravo, as I heard? Is it Johnny Bravo?
I'm not Johnny Bravo yet.
Not yet?
Off my fan.
Getting close.
Johnny Bravo, that's that big jacked cartoon character, right?
Yes.
And so how is it going? You still on the one pizza a day diet?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, limiting the calories. It's just one pizza a day. It's not one pizza every couple hours, right?
It's one pizza a day, which is like, I forget if it's like 15 or 1600 calories. Doesn't matter. It's a deficit. So I can now suck in my belly enough that it looks like it's flat.
There you go.
Nice.
Very impressive.
One of these days, I might be able to fit into my high school jeans.
What did you weigh in high school?
I was under 200 in high school. I was probably about 180.
And were you as tall as you are, or did you grow after high school?
I'm as tall as I was in high school.
Wow. All right. On the way there, how many pounds have you lost so far?
From my top weight of 330, I'm now down to 275. It's been staying in that range. I'm thinking I might need to move off of the pizza at some point and go with a further calorie deficit.
Yeah, maybe you want to increase the protein ratio there, right? Start cutting macros, maybe?
Maybe I'll just put more pepperonis on the pizza.
There you go.
That might increase the fat content just a little bit there. I don't know if that's going to do the trick.
I know what he could do. He can decrease the amount of cheese in the crust from 2 feet to 1 foot.
And just cap it off at 1 foot of cheese.
Listen,
right?
I'm not a pizza surgeon. I don't know how to do that.
Don't they have like a stuffed celery crust or something?
I don't know.
the cauliflower stuffed crust.
Yeah, there you go. That's what you need.
You know what? I have so I'm pretty sure it's mozzarella cheese on the inside of the crust. If they were to like mix that with spinach, I don't know how to infiltrate the cheese and mix it with spinach so that when it cooks, it has some spinach in it. But that would be cool if they would do that.
Didn't we find out that the stuffed crust was really some kind of government conspiracy? Didn't we do research on that? I'm not kidding. I thought we read an article saying something about the government was responsible for the stuffed crust.
Wait, what?
Just to sell cheese, right?
Did I have a
tell
dream?
us the
Did I
tale.
dream
It could
this?
be a dream. I don't know.
Please tell us how that works.
I vaguely remember something about it. But
This
not
wouldn't
really
be the first time that happened. One time,
Dreaming about the show?
I dreamed about something and thought it was totally real. I had a discussion with a friend of mine in law school.
Mm.
This girl in law school had cut her hair and looked like this baseball player, Joe Pepitone. Do you know who Joe Pepitone is? He was on the Yankees in the 1970s.
Okay.
Had that like typical 70s haircut.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they had
What,
some
a
good
mullet?
haircuts back there. Yeah.
No, it wasn't a mullet. It was sort of like, not quite that long in the back.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Russ might be able to find a picture of Joe Pepitone
There we go.
to bring him up.
Yeah.
But I must have thought about it subconsciously. But I went to a buddy of mine. He was also a ball player. And I said to him, you hit the nail right on the head when you said she looks like Joe Pepitone. And he was like, what are you talking about? I said, you said she looked like Joe Pepitone. He was like, I don't even know who Joe Pepitone is. What are you talking about? So what was it? Wasn't you? So there were a couple of other of our ball player friends from law school, because in law school, all the guys who did play ball sort of gravitated to one another. I was like, was it? It was you that said that she looked like Joe Pepitone. He's like, no, what are you talking about? Absolutely not. And I must have had a dream that somebody said she looked like Joe
That's funny.
Pepitone, and that became the running joke after the fact.
Nice. Yeah, some of those dreams can be pretty real.
Very
Yeah,
specific.
We get some photos of Joe Pepitone.
There we go. There it is.
Keep scrolling down. There's a picture of him standing in street clothes somewhere where he's not wearing a baseball hat.
You can see his hair.
And you can see it right there on the left over
Oh,
there.
yeah.
On the left.
Kind of the black and white
Right,
one.
yeah. Get the picture on the left over there.
Oh, yeah. That's
Bring that
totally
up.
like 70s, man. Look at
Yeah.
that.
That was the haircut.
That's funny.
And the gal looked just like Joe Pepitone.
Okay. So it's like Beatles, I got a haircut, but not really kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
My
People
mom
did have
used
more
to
hair
smoke
back
salad
then.
bowl.
I'm going to get 10 emails from 10 different females from my law school saying, was it me you said looked like Joe Pepitone?
Yeah, who was it?
Oh,
Who are you talking about?
This person wasn't very nice, though, so I didn't feel bad. Not in the least.
There you go. Joe Pepitone.
Anyhow, how did we get to Joe Pepitone? The stuffed crust government conspiracy.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Have you been working out, Russell?
yeah.
What have you been doing?
Lifting pizzas.
No, I bought some weights, some adjustable dumbbells. We covered this before, I'm pretty sure. And I've been doing curls. I do one arm until it hurts and I can't lift anymore. My other arm has to intervene, and then I switch to the other arm.
Nice.
And I do the same thing. I go until it hurts and I can't do anymore.
No pain, no gain, brother.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not. It might be a perfect formula for pulling something.
Oh, you want to generally train to failure, but you want to be doing the proper form, right? People, when they ego lift, they go too heavy and they don't use the proper form. That's when they end up getting hurt. A lot of times that's what happens. People get in the gym. They want to lift far too heavy.
Mm-hmm.
They're not helping themselves because they're not going to see the gains that they would otherwise.
Trying to
if
show
they're
off
using
a little
proper
bit.
form, and a proper cadence is important too. You're using the right muscles to get the contractions, and the eccentric movement on the way down from that curl, for example. That's going to be incredibly important. A lot of times people bring it up to the top and they just sort of let the weights fall down back to the bottom. You have to go nice and slow all the way down, get that full extension.
Don't you even want the lowering to be longer?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And nice and slow on the way down. And if you can't do it nice and slow on the way down, guess what? It's too heavy.
Just too heavy.
Yeah. It's too heavy.
How much are you doing, Russ?
Well, In the beginning, I was doing 10-pound dumbbells, and I was just, it's not, particularly impressive, but I was just doing that until
That's not
my
what
arms
it's about, though.
Yeah.
If you want
Well,
to
I
get in
was-
good
I was-
shape, check your
I only had access to 5-pound weights at the time, because turns out weights are really hard to find these days.
Yeah, a lot of people bought them up during the pandemic, I think.
Yeah, well, there's apparently still buying them up.
And shipping's up, so yeah, they're probably more expensive too. Yeah.
Yeah, everything's inflated, so it's also more expensive.
Mhm.
So I started out with 10. I've recently been doing 20. And that's just kind of where I'm at.
You said you're doing the sets to failure?
Yeah.
How many sets?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't tallied how many I can do. I just go until my arm gets tired.
How many reps you think you're doing?
I don't know.
Well, the reps he's
20?
doing the reps to failure, but
20,
when I say
25,
sets,
30?
I mean
Okay.
when you do it on one side, do it on the other, and then you start over again. How many times do you do that?
Oh,
You do
I
as
can
many
do that,
sets
like,
until you...
I can do like 3 or 4 times of back and forth before my arms feel like noodles.
Okay. You're probably around where you should be then.
That's
Oh,
good.
okay.
Good.
Probably around where you should be.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I also
That's
got
pretty
this.
good. We're all proud of you, Russ.
Yeah, way to go, man.
Russ is
I also
gonna-
got this weighted vest. It's allegedly 12 pounds. It doesn't feel. My backpack in high school was a lot heavier than this vest. This vest,
They start
and
backpacks.
I've just been wearing it just because, and
Wow.
I do feel a little bit sweatier because of it,
Mm.
which
Get
means
your sweat
my body's doing some kind of work, right?
A sweaty Russ.
They call him Sweaty Russ, folks.
Sweaty Russ, ladies and gentlemen.
I really don't
He
want that.
sweats out cheese, ladies and gentlemen.
There is one bodybuilder. I think his name is Noel Diesel,
Hmm.
and he's incredibly popular on YouTube. He does these shorts that get a ton of views.
Uh-huh.
Guy's massive. But
We should
he
do some
talks
shorts
about
with
how-
us working out.
No.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah,
No,
we should.
I
Come
hate
on, Russ.
video.
But he talks about when you're doing curls and different workouts that you're using each side, start with your weaker side, see how many you can do and try to match that with your stronger side. Because otherwise, if you're always just doing more reps with your stronger side, you're going to have an imbalance.
Right. Yep.
So
Gotta
that's
kind of
his
even it
theory
out.
on that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sounds like that's what you're doing though, Russ.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Well, we are all very proud of you, and we'll have to get some video documentation of this stuff. Get you over here for a workout.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
And if any of our listeners have any fitness stories that they want to share with us, please feel free to write in. We always love to hear that stuff. People who are, it doesn't matter where you are. Nobody should be ashamed of any of that. I like to think that anybody can do something,
Mhm.
even if you're, laid up because you've got some kind of an injury. You can wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. There's always something that you can do. They talked about severely overweight people who were on those television shows, like 1,000-pound people, how they got to sit in bed and clap their hands to get going.
It's crazy.
And that's how they get started.
Right.
But that's something. That's that first step, right?
Mhm.
If you just decide I'm not going to do that, I'm not even going to do that, then you're going to stay there forever.
Sure.
That's where you will be. It's not going to get any better by doing nothing.
Right.
So there's something that everybody can do. And you should be just as proud of yourself for getting started. Now, don't get stuck there. If you can do more, do as much as you possibly can while being safe, while being healthy. Challenge yourself. There's another fitness trainer, Greg Doucette, always says harder than last time. Every time harder than last time. And that's the goal.
That's
right?
good. Mhm.
You're not comparing yourself to other people. You're comparing yourself to yourself. And that's what it's all about. I can't begin to talk about the benefits of working out physically, mentally. And if you haven't tried it, I recommend everybody give it a shot. Consult with your physician first, though. Right? Give all the legal disclaimers.
Funny story about consult with your physician. The vest that I bought, the weighted vest, it came with a warning on the inside, and it said, check with your doctor if you're about wearing this vest if you're over 35 or have never worked out.
It was
No, it has never done if you've never done exercise.
If you've never done exercise
Never.
ever in your life, or you're 35 or older.
Yeah, older than
wow, it's the
35.
cutoff, 35.
Who's never exercised?
Yes.
You know,
Fat people who are
Apparently, some people who have bought the vest and it didn't work out so well,
I'll
right?
get a picture. I'm pretty sure it's in my car. I'll get a picture of this warning and I'll put it up on screen if you want.
Wonder what the age thing's about. That's not exactly that old.
I don't know.
35.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's
35.
the age that you're more likely to have a heart attack. Who knows?
I put the vest on. I was 36.
I never worked out in my life.
Couldn't tolerate 12 pounds.
Right. It killed me instantly. Oh, my goodness.
Good advice, Mike.
Yeah,
Give
you
Rita
gotta
a
love
hey
those
now.
those
Hey now.
lawyer labels.
Oh, they're ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
We were just talking about yesterday. One of the courthouses that Rich and I went to said court pajamas are not proper court attire.
It's like
so
a sign
if there
or
was a
something, or-
sign about it, that means it was
Really?
a real problem, right?
Yeah, apparently that's interesting.
You know, we're gonna stop. We can't be telling people this all the time. We're just
Yeah.
gonna put up a sign.
Tell the judge you don't care without telling the judge. you
Oh
don't care.
goodness! Rich always tells the story. He had a guy show up to a DUI trial wearing a Budweiser T-shirt.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And he
That's
cursed
just
the guy
genius.
out. He said he'd get in the hallway and he made him change his
Oh,
shirt and
man.
everything like that.
That's horrendous.
He said
Although I
that's the
guess
only time I
technically,
ever cursed
you know,
out a client. I said, then you're a
right.
better man than I.
Oh man, that's good advice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Liberty, were you saying something?
No, that's just horrendous.
Mm.
Yeah, Budweiser T-shirt.
I've always sort of admired people who could like just be themselves no matter what. Like what kind of mindset you're in that you're just like,
Yeah.
you know, like that, you know, because I always overdo it. I always overdo it for
Mhm.
interviews, for everything. And I'm like, I wish I was just one of those people like that just could do whatever.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
kind of admire him, but at the same time, how can you even do that?
Kind of
How
freeing,
can
I
you think
guess.
that the judge would be okay with that?
Yeah.
Didn't you say that you had once interviewed for a job with a Republican politician, an
Oh,
elected
yes.
official, I should say, and you were so
I did.
concerned about your tattoo that you weren't going to get the job and everything, and you're
Yes.
trying to cover it up and everything, and you end up getting the job, and you're like, nah.
I did actually, but she didn't see the tattoo. I covered it up. I was so nervous about if I worked there, how I would cover it.
Mm.
But I did get this job in this totally different area than where I was from, and this totally different. It was very strange. It was a Republican, you know, some big Republican candidate, and I got the job, and I had no idea what I was doing. I just like politics, but you know, I
You
wound
probably
up
knew more
taking
than
a
everybody else. Then.
Yeah,
But
that's what I was
so-
going to say.
What?
Wait,
You fit
just 'cause
right. He knew nothing about it. You fit right in.
Yeah, you probably still
It
knew
was
more
just
than
like-
everybody else.
She loves my answers. She loved my story, and it was just she was so opposite of me, and she made me uncomfortable, and I don't know. And I was just putting on a total like show to get the job. I got because it's weird. I can know what people want when you interview, and I don't know if that's like a psychotic thing. Like I just know what they're looking for, so I can
It's
actually
your
train people on how.
empathic side.
If anybody needs training on interviews, I can train you because it's like there's cues, like you know what they want to hear, and that's
Sure.
I can get an interview. I got millions of jobs.
Mhm.
It's not millions, hundreds. Anyway.
Tell us about a time, Liberty, when.
Plenty of stories.
Yeah.
Rita says, "Good advice, Mike. Give her a hey now.
Hey now, Rita.
Hey now. Dag Nabbit checking in. Give Dag Nabbit a hey now.
Hey now, Dag Nabbit. Welcome.
You know what Dag Nabbit the prize? Dag Nabbit ever get his mailing address?
Oh, I don't know. It's got to
Dag
send it
Nabbit
in.
won the weight contest. Remember
Oh yeah,
the
that's
Russell
right.
guest Russell's weight contest?
Mhm. This is true.
Randy says, "Hey now. Give Randy a hey now.
Randy, hey now.
Hey now."
Hey now.
So let's talk a little bit about the topic of the hour. For those of us just tuning in, you're listening to Mike G in the Morning with The Law Matters, only on the Freedom Station, WFYL. So we spoke a little bit last night on our preview. We're not going to have a panel with multiple participants this evening. We're just going to talk a little bit about this case. The Randy Halterman case out of Monroe County. It's something that a lot of us in the business were following, and I know a lot of law-abiding gun owners were following, simply because the headline in and of itself catches people's attention that there were intruders in his home. He shot. He was charged with homicide. Now, we know that there are a lot of circumstances where somebody breaks into your home, you shoot, you're not justified, and it could
Mhm.
very well be homicide. So that's not the end of the story just because somebody's in somebody else's home. And a lot of people have a misconception about that. They think, well, if there are intruders in the home, that's the end of that.
Right.
But it's not so simple. Certainly not that simple. What I want to do at first is I want to read the affidavit of probable cause. I did not work this case, obviously, so
Mm.
I'm not intimately familiar with all of the details. I was not present during the trial. Russ, do you have that? Do you have that
Yeah, I have
warning
that
over there?
disclaimer.
Okay, before I get into the affidavit of probable cause, let's take a look at this. Caution, consult your physician before starting this or any exercise program. This is especially important if you're over the age of 30. So everybody needs to consult their physician regardless of age, but
Right.
it's especially important.
Especially.
It's especially important if you're 35, have never exercised before, are pregnant, or suffer from any health problem. This product is for home use only. What
Any
does that
health
mean?
problem.
As opposed to what?
Industrial use.
Institutional or
An
commercial
industrial weighted vest.
Yes, indeed.
What kind of institution?
Oh,
are
do
they
not
referring
use
to?
in an
Yeah.
institutional or commercial applications.
What does that
Is
mean?
that even a sentence? Do not use in institutional or commercial application. I guess so.
Hmm.
What would that mean?
I guess like if you're a gym owner, you shouldn't buy it and let your paying members
Okay.
use it or something. Maybe,
All right,
right?
because
Yeah.
they get
Or
worn out
I know
easily.
like
Yeah.
when my brother went to what do you call it, the training when you go into the military, they make you wear a vest, maybe that.
I don't think
Oh,
it's
yeah,
a
there
big,
you
I don't
go.
think it was a weighted vest.
Yeah.
Keep it up, Russ. Keep it up. I want to read the rest.
Although they're carrying enough equipment as it is. Yeah.
Failure to follow all warnings and instructions could
training.
result in bodily injury and property damage.
What?
So the
You know
police-
what? Somebody probably fell off a roof or
I
something.
put a vest on. My house fell down.
That car
you know what?
won't start because of this vest.
Right.
I'm gonna guess somebody got badly hurt. They tried like rock climbing, or they were on a roof and fell down and landed on
Weighted
vest
vest on
down.
the
I
roof.
Yeah.
guess
I was driving my car
they-
and my
they were
wheels fell
doing
off.
they were doing something stupid, and that for
Yeah.
every caution, somebody had to do something to
Yeah,
deserve.
you have to wonder what kind of property damage.
Institutional.
You
Do
know.
not use in
Maybe
institutional
they were
or
in their
commercial
attic.
applications.
I have a feeling they were in their attic. What, you know when attics have like those boards?
Oh
It
yeah,
fell through the
missed
attic.
one of those.
Yeah, maybe extra weight.
Fall right through.
Yeah, because of an extra 10-pound vest. I'm sure that's the cause.
I
Wow.
don't know. Just be
Excuse
careful,
me.
Russ. Russ.
Yeah, I
my
need
advice
to
is
be
to be
careful.
careful.
My house could fall on top of me because of this vest.
I guess there's no mental institutions with vests then.
Yeah, you can't use
You guys
in
know how far
institutional
away Santa
applications.
Claus lives?
Excuse me, do you allow my vest inside here?
Those poor folks.
Oh, you gotta love it. Yeah, we should read more of these labels on the air. They're pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we could do that one time.
Yeah.
If any of our listeners have
Mhm.
any funny warning labels, feel free to send them in MikeGinthemorning.com.
I feel like I want to get a vest and have like those iron-on things that you can iron on. I want to get one of
The
these.
the iron-on things that
You know
you
those
iron
thingies
on.
you iron on?
I
there?
want to. I want to have this made as an iron-on and put it on like just a vest.
Hun, grab my iron. I gotta iron that thing.
patches? You mean like patch up your vest?
Sure, whatever.
Hey now, Anami. Hey
Listen,
now.
I'm not a sewing doctor.
Amani.
Money. Money has a few funny
Yeah.
warnings. That's
Gotta
great.
Send them in, yeah.
Well, guys,
Send
the
'em on in.
warning sign that always scares me is the one on the pillow. It's like, do not remove this, or like on your bed.
Oh, on the
or you're
mattress.
gonna go
On the
to jail.
mattress.
Like,
Yeah, right.
Guys,
Under
it's
What are you in
Right.
for?
law.
I've ripped so many of those off. I'm like ripping this off again.
Chris,
You don't want to get mixed up with a guy like me.
Right.
Wait,
every
imagine,
time I'm in a hotel, I'm like, where's the label?
guys, imagine you rip it off, and then like
It's
all
one
of
of
a sudden,
those-
like all these police show up.
Yeah, well,
That's
you
what I
know,
picture in my
they
head.
probably
Well,
didn't they just hire
apparently-
like 76,000 mattress agents or something?
Oh yeah. It was like the
Chris
Pee-wee
is
Herman
one of
movie
those label
Right.
predators.
where Pee-wee Herman's hitchhiking and gets picked up by that guy and notices he's got broken handcuffs on his hand. He's like, what did you do? No, You ever see those do not remove under the penalty of the law
Yes.
tickets on the mattresses? And he's yeah. And he goes, well, I lost my temper and I cut one of them off.
Billy Chris, you just admitted to a felony on the air. No, I'm just
Did I?
kidding.
I think they're only for the seller, though. I think one time I was
yeah.
like looking into that, and it's only
Oh.
for the original like seller because it has to show the materials if you have like an allergy or. But I think that's what that's for. Yeah.
Oh, but we're allowed to, as
I think once you buy it,
once we buy it and it's our
Yeah.
own property,
Yeah.
we're free to do whatever we want with it.
Mhm.
Guys,
Hotel ones though might be a gray area. Maybe that's where Pee Wee was.
Guys, I have a reason. There's a reason you don't remove them. You ready?
What's that? It's got a reason, ladies and gentlemen. Russ with a reason.
We got a reason why.
He's got a video for us. It looks like.
Okay.
I got a video.
Got a video. Look at this. Oh.
Ooh, look at this thing! Do not remove under penalty of law. Daddy, don't you dare remove that! Or what? I feel my
This is
hand
Chris.
slipping. No, you can't! Such a bad boy.
So what happened?
Yeah, what
So
happened?
it cut the part out, but the mattress, like it all came apart at the seams. The stuffing is like hanging out.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Well, what would they why would they make a law about that?
They should make the mattress like explode.
I
or
don't
something.
know. They're just
Right.
making fun of it.
Randy's got one. It says, did anyone see recent news report about Tesla recalling 1.1 million cars due to the fact that people are getting their fingers pinched in the window?
I did not see that.
Yeah.
I
it
wonder
when
if
that
the
happens.
sleep
Yeah,
is.
that's interesting.
Wonder what the issue was.
Yeah, I wonder what's going on with that.
That sounds terrifying.
Maybe I'll look it up real quick, see if we can find something.
I heard that there
yeah.
were these fans being recalled because people were sticking their finger in the blades. And
Yeah, right. They need a
Oh,
label
why-
on the
Why
Tesla.
are they sticking their fingers?
Yeah,
in the,
Teslas should come with a warning.
Yeah.
They're sticking their fingers in the damn window to begin with.
What happened to your hand?
Don't we tell kids that all the time?
Yeah, right.
I feel like those people got exactly what they deserved.
They had to put a limitation on ice cream because too many adults were eating too much and getting a headache, right? It's like, come on.
Warning may contain brain freeze. It's not a real ingredient, but it happens.
Do you guys remember that McDonald's lawsuit where the lady spilt the
Mm.
coffee on her?
Yeah,
And when you
see,
first heard that, it sounded horrible. But when you actually watched the documentary, she had like 3rd-degree burns.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, the
was-
coffee was way too hot.
it was pretty hot coffee.
Yeah. Didn't need to be that hot.
How
There's
hot
some
is
stuff
coffee?
on both sides of that make you think, eh.
Mhm.
There's more to the story all around. I'd
I
say.
did see that documentary too, though, and Liberty makes a good point. Yeah, there was a lot more to
It
it.
was a good one.
Plaintiffs' attorneys are obsessed with that movie. We had one guy, we were looking for sponsors for the Sports Entertainment Law Society's softball team. We
Mhm.
put together this intramural softball team that had it was comprised of all former Division I athletes and professional ball players. It's like, it was ridiculous. I
That
think we
must have been
scored
pretty
like
wild.
18 runs in the first inning of the first game, and they had to make a rule that you can't score more than 10 in an inning after that. It was so much fun because
That's
you got all
kinda
these frat
ridiculous.
guys who were talking trash to us and
Excuse
went
me.
out there and smoked all of them.
Oh yeah, that's pretty
And
funny.
we were looking for sponsors because we wanted to get real nice jerseys, and we figured that if a law firm sponsored us, gave us some money to get these jerseys, we could put their firm name on the back.
Mhm.
And we said, hey, people will see your firm and associate it with a bunch of butt kickers.
Right. Yeah.
So-
Winning.
This one guy wrote back saying something like, well, will you have a special event where we all watch the documentary Hot Coffee if I sponsor you? I said, I don't know that's really germane to our purpose at the
Yeah,
Sports
right.
Entertainment Law Society.
What's that all-
Took it up for a vote with the club, and they're like, yeah, no, we don't want to watch that. We'll find the money somewhere else.
Right. Yeah. Thanks anyway.
Randy says people like that are the reason they put "do not eat" on the silica. How do you pronounce that? Those little packets,
I think you were saying it right. Silica. I think.
silica
think
packets.
it's
that
silica,
Those
come
are
with
yeah.
called
electrical equipment.
snacks. I
Snacks,
always look
yeah.
at things and I'm like, oh,
Little-
snacks.
The little beads in a bag.
Right.
Bag of
beads.
beads.
Hey, look, in my stereo
checking in.
box, they put a little snack in there for me.
CB's checking in.
Hey
Give him a
now, CB. Hey now, CB.
Hey now,
Hey
CB.
now, hey now.
I'm sure CB's got some good stories of strange warnings he's seen on different
Oh, I bet.
products.
He's probably written a few.
Yeah. So
Mm.
let's talk a little bit about this case, if we can.
Yeah,
I'm sure
please.
some people tuned in expecting to hear this, so we got to talk about it a little bit. I did not participate in the case. I did not attend the trial, so I'm going to start by reading the affidavit of probable cause to bring everybody up to speed. I'll talk a little bit about some of the inside baseball that I've been made aware of through having discussions with colleagues, things of that nature.
Cool.
And we'll take it from there. So the affidavit of probable cause, which is filed along with a criminal complaint when you're charged with a crime in Pennsylvania. It says on Tuesday, January 19th, 2021, at approximately 1727, the Stroud Area Regional Police Department was dispatched to 2040, I won't say the guy's address, for a report of shots fired within the residence. When responding officers arrived, they made contact with the resident, Randy Halterman, and commanded him to put down the weapon and exit the premises. Halterman was escorted from the residence and placed in a patrol vehicle. During a canvass of the residence, officers found a female who was lying on her back and claiming to have been shot in the stomach. She was calling out a name, and the officers located a male nearby laying face down with no signs of life. The residence is a two-story dwelling, with the first floor being cement block and the second floor framed construction. A steel entry door leads into the structure on the first floor, and the entire inside is covered with debris and property. So you're getting that picture, right? The entire inside is covered with debris and property.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Like a hoarder type situation.
Right.
It appears to be a hoarding issue. Oh, well, took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah,
It
right.
appears to be a hoarding issue, as access to the interior is extremely limited, and items are stacked several feet high. The stairwell is covered and unable to be seen. The entire property is overrun with weeds and debris, making it appear abandoned. Halterman attested to the abandoned look of the property and a prior dealing. Halterman also stated that the front door was open and there is no electricity to the building. Patrol units escorted Randy Halterman to Stroud Area Regional Police Headquarters to be spoken with. Halterman was interviewed after waiving Miranda and gave the following account. Halterman stated that he was in his home on the second floor and had heard a noise which he thought was an animal. Approximately a half hour later, he heard another sound which he believed was people talking inside his home. Halterman stated that he heard a male's voice talking to someone and mentioning items that were in the home. Halterman retrieved his .22 caliber handgun and pointed it in the direction of the voices. Halterman proceeded to move a curtain that he uses as a divider, and he saw two persons that were approximately 10 feet from where he was. He stated that both were holding flashlights, so he fired one shot at each.
Wow.
He then stated that the two had fled and were going towards the stairs that led to the first floor exit. Halterman saw the two on the bottom of the stairs and intentionally aimed towards the center of the body of the male and fired approximately 4 more rounds because he, quote, didn't want them to get away. He also stated that he heard a female voice saying, quote, please don't shoot me, I have a baby. Halterman then called 911. The male was pronounced dead at the scene with multiple gunshot wounds, and the female was taken to Lehigh Valley Cedar Crest Hospital by helicopter. The female suffered 2 gunshot wounds, one to the upper chest and one to the abdomen. I conducted an interview with the survivor of the incident upon her release from the hospital to provide a better understanding of the events that had taken place. She will be referred to as CF in this affidavit. The interview was audio and video recorded and goes as follows. The defendant and CF were dropped off at Hayward Laboratories to fill out an employment application for the decedent. The decedent and CF were dropped off at Hayward Laboratories to fill out an employment application for the decedent. After completing the application, they decided to walk on Paradise Trail to go to Penn Hill Resort to explore the remains. As they were walking, they observed what they felt was an abandoned building up on a hill with an asphalt driveway leading up to it. CF stated that the weeds were overgrown on the driveway and that there were old vehicles, debris, and garbage scattered in front of the building. The decedent and CF were outside the building for 10 to 15 minutes and decided to approach the front door. The door was ajar, and there was a small window that was covered by something. The decedent removed the object to obtain a better view of the interior. The decedent called out to see if anyone may have been in the building, but received no response. The decedent pulled on the small opening, and the door came open, causing debris to fall out onto the ground in front of the door opening. The two observed debris and garbage stacked approximately waist high through the entrance and into the interior.
Wow.
They climbed over the debris and accessed the building to look around. CF stated they were talking at a normal level and were looking around for approximately 20 to 25 minutes. At a point in time, CF exited the building and went to the bathroom outside. When she returned back, the decedent had called to her from the second floor and told her to come to his location on the second floor. The decedent directed her to a set of stairs that ended up on the second floor and a catwalk platform that led them around the building. The walking platform was also filled with debris, making it hard to navigate. Once CF met the decedent on the platform, there was an open door with a wall straight ahead and covering described as a curtain off to the left. There's some typos in here, so they're making it more difficult.
Oh, is that right? Oh,
yeah. The decedent warned CF to be careful as there were guns leaning up against the platform railing and that someone may be there because there were bottles of urine on the floor.
Oh
Hey, that's what we call a red flag.
Yeah, guns and bottles of urine.
Guns
Time to
and
go.
bottles of, you know what?
Time to go. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen.
We're actually going to take off. CF had her flashlight illuminated towards the wall when she saw a gun barrel emerge between the wall and curtain.
Wow.
Before she could react, there were 2 shots fired. CF felt a pinch near her abdomen when the shots were fired, but was pushed by the decedent, and they both continued along the catwalk to retreat. While retreating, CF fell along the platform and was assisted up by the decedent. Several shots were fired during their retreat to the stairwell. While CF proceeded down the stairs, she had fallen at the bottom, and the decedent also fell and landed on top of her legs, pinning her. The decedent pushed her down under cover and put his hands up in the air while on his knees. I was told the decedent was talking to the shooter and asking whomever to not shoot, as he meant no harm and didn't realize someone was there. A shot was fired at the decedent, and he said, "Babe, help me, my heart." The decedent fell towards the stairs. Another shot was fired. CF saw the decedent twitch and leave out a gasp. CF remained in her position until police arrived and removed her to safety. CF suffered gunshot wounds to the left breast and abdomen. An autopsy was performed on the decedent at Lehigh Valley Hospital, Cedar Crest, and it was determined that he suffered 3 gunshot wounds. 1 bullet entered the top of the skull and traveled through to the neck, where it was extracted. The second wound entered the left upper chest and traveled through the torso and came to rest in the lower back, where it was extracted. The third wound was on the left hip, and only fragmentation could be extracted. The bullet entries to the head and chest seemed to suggest they were fired from above the decedent. That's the end of it. And that's the affidavit of probable cause.
That's intense.
Filed with the charging document.
Intense,
Sure is. Sure is.
Wow.
So what stands out to you as a layperson?
Well, I think that obviously it's not good they were in his home, but even if he felt threatened, which it didn't say much in there about that, once he had discharged the firearm, or there was no longer a threat. Obviously the guy's at the bottom of the stairs, she's at the bottom of the steps, and they're pleading for help and to no longer shoot at them. So obviously he continued to use deadly force when it was not necessary. It sounds like.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we start off with a couple of brief overviews for everybody, and we're not going to talk about the ins and outs of deadly force law on the air. If you have not attended a U.S. Law Shield seminar where we discuss the justified use of deadly force, that's a 2-hour seminar. I encourage you to come on out. Just go to gunlawseminar.com and find one that's nearest to you. And if you're at all willing to use a firearm, or a baseball bat or a knife or a tire iron to protect yourself or a loved one, you really need to know when the laws of deadly force apply and when deadly force is justified. So check that out. But just as a brief overview, deadly force is justified in Pennsylvania when you have a reasonable belief that deadly force is immediately necessary to prevent death, serious bodily injury, kidnapping, or intercourse compelled by force or threat. We always call that last one rape. And serious bodily injury, law talks about the protracted loss of the use of a limb or an organ. So we're talking about things like crippling, mangling, paralysis, blindness. It's got to be pretty severe, right? We're not talking about, you know, somebody got beat up a little bit. Another thing is that when you were involved in this kind of a situation where you've got an intruder, the castle doctrine may kick in, because under the castle doctrine, if someone's in the process of unlawfully and forcefully entering your dwelling or residence, or if they already have, the law will begin with the presumption that you did have a reasonable belief that deadly force was immediately necessary to prevent one of those four things. And the law will also presume that the person who committed the unlawful and forceful entry did so with the intention of causing death, serious bodily injury, kidnapping, or rape. So there's a legal advantage in these scenarios, but a presumption can always be overcome by evidence. So just because they'll begin with the premise, right? You presume that the person had that reasonable belief. If there's an overwhelming amount of evidence that proves beyond a reasonable doubt that they did not have a reasonable belief, or really that they couldn't have had that reasonable belief, then the presumption will be overcome by that evidence.
Can I ask you a quick question, Mike?
Sure.
I mean, the part that really stood out for me when you were reading through the beginning of it is the statement he made that he was shooting at them because he did not want them to get away.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
That's I don't know if you could come up with a worse statement, to be honest with you. Now, from what I understand from the inside baseball, the guy did, when the police showed up, invoke his right to an attorney. The problem is he invoked his right to the district attorney. The prosecutor.
Oh my gosh, why would you do that?
This is what I've heard. This is what I've heard.
Oh,
I've heard
boy.
that he invoked his right to the district attorney and then proceeded to make a statement to the prosecutor.
So your seminars, you're going to say shut up and district attorney up going
Don't
forward?
district attorney up. That's the wrong attorney.
Shut up and don't
the wrong attorney. That's the guy who's trying to put you in jail.
Yeah, apparently he forgot that part.
And that statement, I shot because I didn't want them to get away. That's something that was plastered all over the papers and everything like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't even look up the case because I wanted to hear it from you.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so, didn't lawyer up and shut up, which is a problem. Now, do you think he really shot because he didn't want them to get away?
He may not. He could have said it in the heat of the moment. I mean, somebody's in your home. I mean, it sounds like a very unusual situation. I could almost sort of see why these people may have entered the home, because it's not like they were, not that you should go into any property. It's still not right, but it sounded sort of abandoned. There's no electricity. Like, the more you talked about it, I'm like, okay, it sort of makes a little sense, but it's still not right.
Another thing I heard was that the victim, CF, testified at the preliminary hearing that they were in there because they were looking for donations to give to the Salvation Army.
Okay, well, that's probably...
How do you think that was accepted?
Right? Yeah, right.
How do you think that story was accepted by the trier of fact?
Sounds like they were making dumb statements too.
Yeah. So the jury hears that and they're like, okay.
Yeah, okay, sure. That's what you were doing. Yeah.
Go ahead, Liberty.
I wanted to say, like, I don't want to say my biggest fear, but it's like that happening, like the worst thing that can happen, like somebody entering your house. So like, you'd be so scared. That's why you need the training. You know what I mean? Because if somebody enters, you just don't know what you're going to do unless you're trained. You know what I mean?
Right. Have a plan. Right. That's exactly right. Because if you're trying to do the fire drill while the house is burning down, bad things are going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So this is something that you need to have 100% of a plan.
To be honest.
What's that?
I said, I would be absolutely freaked out. Your heart's racing. You're so scared. It's like, I don't know what could happen. You could black out, just be like,
sure.
Yeah, sure. So plus they were on the second floor, which is where he was. So they had made their way up. So, I mean, could understand how he would be scared in that situation,
Good facts, bad facts, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's trying to take my guns and bottles of urine?
Do you know? Do you know how this case ultimately ended up?
Do I? I do not actually. I mean, I could take a stab at what happened, but you want me to
What
make
would
a
you
guess?
guess? What would you guess?
I would imagine, based on his own personal testimony and the things he said, and the circumstances, he probably was charged with something and convicted of something. I don't know to what extent.
Okay,
You
so
know,
yeah, we just said he was charged because he read the charging
yeah,
documents.
okay, right, yeah,
So
but
he's charged with homicide,
yeah,
and
maybe
he's 68 years old. So you know, even if it was a lesser charge like an ag assault, that could end
right.
up being a life sentence effectively for somebody who's 68 years old. You know.
I mean, it's an interesting thing, because you do have the castle doctrine. They're in your home. They're basically committing a crime, multiple crimes. I could see how he would have felt threatened. Maybe
Now,
even
here's
just
another thing,
yeah.
though. Here's the thing. Does feeling threatened have anything to do with it?
Well, you make a really good point.
No. The answer is
No,
no.
it's the
It does
reasonable
not.
standard, right? Like
Right.
right.
Would a reasonable person under the same or
Reasonable.
similar
Mhm.
circumstances have that belief?
Yeah,
It has nothing to do with whether you're afraid. Yeah, you could be unreasonably afraid.
true. And I think
You-
if somebody's in your home and you're caught off guard like that, especially on your second floor, all of a sudden, you think maybe there's an animal. I mean, it's interesting that he thought there was an animal. He didn't go to investigate, but then again, based on the conditions of his home, maybe he regularly had animals pass through. But I think it's still. I think it would still be sort of reasonable to assume that he had some fear.
yeah, but that
Mm.
even if he was, I don't think anybody's going to disagree that he wasn't afraid. I don't think anybody's going to say he wasn't afraid.
Yeah.
It's whether he had a reasonable belief that deadly force is immediately necessary to prevent death,
Right.
serious bodily injury, kidnapping, or rape. Now, they're going to start off in his corner with the presumption because of the castle doctrine, but can the Commonwealth prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he didn't have that
Mhm.
reasonable belief?
I think this is what's really important too about having a plan and doing some training, and because really, unless somebody's really up in your business with another deadly weapon, or like a knife, the whole so many paces, you don't necessarily need to shoot. You could basically point it at them and say, get out. But if they continue to come towards you, I'm talking a reasonable distance here. I don't know exactly how far apart they were. What are your thoughts on that, Mike? I mean, do you think?
Go ahead, Liberty. Go ahead.
I mean, I
like-
guess it's how calm can you stay in that situation,
That's exact. I feel like
Yeah.
what I've learned from the U.S. Law Shield seminars is muscle memory. Literally,
Mhm.
that's what you have to rely on, because literally, if somebody's entered my house, I don't care what's going on. Like, I would be so freaked out that they're going to rape me, like tie me up. Like, you have no idea. Like, if somebody's in my house, I don't know what I'm going to do, guys. So I need training because
Yeah.
you see the news stories, you see these things, and it's very scary. So I don't know. If somebody's in my house, my immediate thought is their intention's not good. Why are you in my
Sure.
house? And totally freaked out. If I hear a noise,
Which is really the basis for the castle doctrine, right, Mike?
Right.
Because
The law
yeah.
does presume that somebody who unlawfully and forcefully enters does so with the intention of causing death, serious bodily injury, kidnapping, or rape. But I think the imminence requirement is an issue here, right?
Exactly.
Could you
Yeah,
have
I
a
guess that's
reasonable
what.
belief that deadly force was immediately necessary to prevent one of those four things?
Mhm.
I'll read the article and we'll talk
People-
more about it. So the
Okay.
article from the Pocono Record, released today, it looks like. A Stroud Township man who fatally shot and wounded a couple who entered his home last year was found not guilty on all charges Friday evening.
Oh, you're not guilty.
in all
Really interesting.
charges.
Okay. Okay.
Following a 6-day trial, Randy Halterman, who fatally shot 20-year-old Adam Schultz and wounded CF when they allegedly entered Halterman's residence to explore in January 2021, was found not guilty on charges including homicide, attempted homicide, and aggravated assault on September 16th.
Mm.
The case sparked a debate about the castle doctrine, which allows individuals to utilize reasonable and even deadly, it should say force, to protect themselves against intruders in their home. I think that is it's not quite accurate the way they stated it.
Mm-hmm.
But during the trial, Halterman's defense claimed that he considered Schultz and CF to be burglars, displaying text messages showing that Schultz had asked a friend for gloves, a crowbar, and a bag before going to Halterman's
Okay.
home.
So there's some more evidence. Okay. Okay. All right. You always do that when you're donating stuff to the Goodwill, right?
This is the Salvation Army kit.
Yeah, right.
It
Hey,
sounds-
Frank, you got a crowbar and some gloves? We're going to go up to that old house up there.
The prosecution argued you can't take the law into your own hands and attempted to establish that Halterman had previously partaken in violent actions by brandishing a weapon at trespassers in 2015. During the initial pretrial, Detective Raymond questioned Halterman about his motivations for shooting the couple from behind a curtain without warning. First of all, no duty to warn. And for shooting Schultz again when he attempted to escape the building. That's a problem. Halterman explained that he initially shot at the pair with his .22 caliber handgun because he was in fear and didn't know if they were armed. As for why he continued to shoot at Schultz, Halterman said that his mindset was wanting closure of not trusting the system and because he couldn't let them get away. Might be the worst statement you could possibly make.
See, that's what surprises me a little bit. And I think probably the jurisdiction would come into play here. The area he was in. Like if this was in Philly, he probably would have gone a different direction.
MDJ Michael Muth noted during the pretrial that even if Castle Doctrine applied in the case, the Commonwealth had overcome its presumption, pointing out seeking closure was not indicative of self-defense. Do you think so?
Really?
However, this case did not preclude Halterman's defense's use of the Castle Doctrine during the trial.
Do you know the attorney that defended him?
Well, one of them was supposed to come on this evening. Maybe we'll get them.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Okay. Rita says the adrenaline rush overtakes a person also without knowledge of the law and lack of training is not a good thing. I would agree with that.
I agree.
I would certainly agree with that.
Say that part again, Mike. I missed that. What'd you say?
The adrenaline rush overtakes a person also without knowledge of the law and lack of training is not a good thing. Dag Nabbit says, can you ever really know the intruder's intentions?
That's what I
No, you cannot. So you've got to infer intentions from
Good point.
actions as they take place, right? So if someone's running away, then that's usually an indication of their intentions here and out, saying, you know what? I've made some pretty poor life decisions. Jeremy says, should have said, I fired until I felt they were no longer a threat. That is incorrect, Jeremy. He should have said nothing. He should have said, I want to be cooperative, but will not make any statements without my attorney. And that is it.
That's right.
That is it. I've never seen anybody talk their way out of anything. Rich says this all the time. We've done tons of cases. Rich and I, we were looking at the other day. Combined, we've done cases in almost all of Pennsylvania's counties. We're missing just a few. Never, between the two of us, seen anybody talk their way out of anything. Seen people talk their way into some trouble.
Sure.
Right?
The police are pretty good at getting you to say things too, unfortunately. Yeah.
I think one of the horrible things about this case could be that people look at this and say, see, that's perfectly legal.
I was thinking
that's
that too.
The worst thing that could happen.
Yeah.
Because you were saying the jurisdiction. I don't even think it's that.
Okay.
I think it's the luck of the draw with the jurors who were selected, right? Because you get 12 other people in Monroe County might be a different story. I don't think you get this result, more than
I think the probability that the jurors in that area are going to be a little bit more gun friendly or open minded to a self defense situation, possibly.
But you get a lot.
But you're right. No, you can't rely on that. You can't rely on
a lot of people moving there from New York.
That's true too. That's a good point. Yeah, didn't think of that. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking of the folks that have been there, but that's a good point. The demographics are steadily changing.
Oh, Jeremy says, I thought this is in the context of a trial. Well, then that's a different story. If he's testifying at the trial, then I would agree with you, Jeremy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
My problem with the imminent law is that it's literally like a split second between justified and not justified.
See, Jeremy says that I thought this is constitutional. He says fired until they're no longer a threat. That would be good, except for the fact, if I were the prosecutor, to be hammering on the fact, well, what indicated that they were still a threat when they were running down the stairs and putting their hands in the air and pleading for dear life?
Right.
The jurors probably saw, looking for donations, Salvation Army, in his place. They see the gun in the urine.
Messages,
they see the gun in the urine. The gun's in the urine. They don't leave at that point, right? That's another thing. And the text message, like you said, as well as the crowbar, all this other stuff. And I think that I read in another article, or maybe somebody told me this, that they were able to GPS these two folks, the decedent and CF, to being there the night before as well.
Oh, really? Wow,
Meaning,
that's interesting.
there's an
Like
indication that they were scoping this place out.
their phones had been there or something. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So with all that stuff, it might be a simple case of just saying, you know what, those folks are really up to no good.
Yeah.
I don't know that we get to be unreasonable that we're not putting this guy in jail for the rest of his life.
Do we know anything about them having a past criminal history or anything, or didn't talk about that? I guess
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
Don't know about that.
and that
I don't know that even gets.
Can that even be admitted or?
Well, not if he didn't know about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless if it's crimin falsi, meaning you use it to attack their credibility.
Yeah, that's what I
right?
was wondering.
They got some kind of a
Right.
conviction that shows that they were a liar, maybe.
Mm.
Brett Regal sent a good text about this because I said in the aftermath, I said, this is going to be horrible. You're going to have so many people coming over to us saying, oh, look, see, we told you this was legal, and we're going to have to beg and plead with these people. Please don't use this as an example because you will not be so lucky.
Well, I'm actually a little surprised and maybe it's because I've seen so many situations and learned through you and
where people do things
where people did things that were way better than this situation,
right.
and truly were, in my opinion, what they in a situation where they were under imminent danger and fear, more afraid than this guy probably was, and they get in trouble still. So yeah, it really doesn't matter.
Regal says, use it as a reminder of why it's so important to lawyer up and shut up. It's also useful as a reminder that training in marksmanship and use of defensively appropriate calibers and ammunition is wise.
Yeah.
And, maybe that jury in that county, what does it say right here?
Although it shows you, too, how deadly a 22 can be. People think
does,
they're not
right?
that lethal, but, doesn't. You get hit in any vital location with a 22. In some ways, they're worse because they'll stay inside you. They'll bounce around. You get hit in the head with a 22, it usually won't exit. Rattle your brain a little bit, The mob used to use them for that reason, I believe.
No way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's that scene from My Blue Heaven where he's talking about the 45 makes too much of a mess.
Right.
The 22 rattles around in your head kind of like a Pac-Man.
That's right. Yeah, there's some truth in that, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it usually will enter, but it doesn't necessarily have the velocity to exit afterwards.
Mike.
He said, but that jury, he was not guilty, but why make your life any harder and your lawyer's job any more difficult?
Yeah, true.
That's what Brett said.
Wonder what his defense cost, too.
I think it was a public defender.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. This guy's got pretty lucky.
Lottery.
Yeah, right? Seriously.
One in a billion got a
Mm-hmm.
perfectly competent public defender, apparently.
Yeah.
And
not that I think he deserves
get a bad reputation, but they try a lot of cases,
Yeah. Not that I think he deserves hard time or anything. I mean, these people were in his home and they, he didn't know what they were doing. So
yeah, I mean, there could be people on jury who took that position.
Mm-hmm.
It is a serious roll of the dice, though, right?
Yeah,
that is
totally,
not a bet that anybody should be willing to make.
No, absolutely not.
Go ahead, Liberty.
Oh, I was going to say, like I said before, I feel like the difference between, I sound like a liberal, I feel like, the difference between, in the law, between imminent and not imminent is literally like a split second. So,
Sure.
like, I picture, like, if somebody comes into your house and then they're like, they put their hands up, like, oh, I'm not going to hurt you. And then they, boom, like, jolt at you. Like, you might not be able to get farmer in time. So I feel like you have to make a decision even before it becomes imminent. But I don't know if you can speak to that. That's why, again, I just...
Yeah, you don't know if they're alone, too. There could be 5 people in there, and you're focused on one, and then somebody comes up behind you.
So I guess you just have to leave it to the attorney.
So you shoot the guy running away to prevent the guy from behind you, right?
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just
I feel like if they're running away is like the only reason not to shoot them.
Just so happen to be in this case.
Right.
But that's bad information.
Randy says pretty much my fear. He said, well, I'm glad he didn't get convicted. Another part of me thinks this sets a very dangerous precedence for making people think, in most cases wrongfully, that they can just shoot first and ask questions later.
Yeah,
100%, 100%. This, if people think that this is a good example of what to do, they will end up in a whole lot of trouble.
Yep. Not a good
100%.
example. Yeah.
Not a good example. Lots of problems here. I had
Do you have
another
any?
case where-
I was just going to say, do you have any examples, Mike, where like you feel like they did everything right, but they still got convicted of something?
and still got convicted. We've had some that have gone pretty far when the person did everything right. Certainly have been involved in cases where somebody did everything right and still ended up taking a plea to something.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Because they wanted to avoid the risk.
Right.
And, they didn't want to take any kinds of chances.
Gotcha.
But it's very difficult on people who do everything right. I've not had any really, you have a use of deadly force case. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, it's
Law
not like the
Shield,
movies,
The Law Shield attorneys are representing Jack Wilson for 9 months before his case was closed. The guy who shot the crazy guy who came into the church and started shooting up.
Sure. Right. Okay. Yeah. 9 months. That's a long time. I mean,
it was on tape in Texas.
Yeah. Right. That's
the guy walks into
Yeah.
the church, starts killing people. Jack Wilson stands up, shoots him dead.
Right.
On tape.
Right.
In Texas. 9 months.
That's insane.
9 months before he was cleared. So,
do you think that's because it was such a big story?
Maybe
Maybe
example that people look to.
Right.
People should look to that and say that's what to expect.
What were they trying to say that he could have done wrong at all? Were they saying you shouldn't have discharged your weapon in church with so many people, or you put people in danger? Like what?
Listen, these things they find ways to drag them on and on and
true.
on, and people's lives. And fortunately for him, he was protected, and he was obviously in the right. And
he was a Law Shield member.
He was.
Oh, okay.
He was, and
I
he's
didn't know
been
that.
a very strong supporter of Law Shield since then, coming out and telling people, thank God I was a member.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah.
So, I was going to talk about, I had this other case. One of the guys at my firm called me with, he had a family member who contacted him, and it's a gun case too. It's like, you've got a family member who works for the gun law firm. You don't call them ahead of time.
Right.
But the guy apparently committed a crime, didn't realize it was a crime. And once he figured out that he thought something was wrong, he walked into the police station and told them everything and asked them what he should do.
Wow. Jeez. Textbook exactly what not to do.
I was cracking up.
Wow.
I was cracking up.
Yeah. I think sometimes people just like all normal reasoning goes out the window. Like how does that happen?
DG says, "Hey now, checking in. Give her
hey
hey
now.
now.
Hey now, DG.
Hey now.
Hey now. Hey now."
I do want to talk about this other case. Why don't you take the reins for me just a little bit, Philly Chris, and Liberty and the rest of the gang?
All right, sounds good. Sounds like a plan. How's it going, Liberty? How are you?
Pretty good.
Yeah. What's going on, Russ?
Not much.
What can we talk about?
I always have something, so you choose.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know you had some stuff. Didn't you have something in the doc? I think we're past that.
No.
That golden hour, right?
We might
3 minutes past. Yeah. You want to wait on that?
But no, along the same lines, remember the pastor we had on who was talking about like the trafficking cause? I've noticed a real uptick lately in the trafficking content on social media. Like a lot of women are putting warnings out there that the traffickers, like at gas stations, highways, are really upping their tactics, putting different things like on your car. Like they track you and like kind of look at your routine, and they'll put like zip ties on your vehicle to let somebody know they're a vulnerable person. And they're using, multiple vans. There's just so many stories out there. And like,
I saw something about the zip tie thing. What exactly is that?
So somebody will like track you, like you see your
Mhm.
routine, and they'll like
Okay.
be scouting you, so that you're a vulnerable person to be trafficked. So it'll let somebody know, like, go look at this person, follow them, try to go after them because they've seen them at a vulnerable point where they can actually traffic them, or
You
steal.
mean oh, okay. So it's
Like,
somebody who's like kind of looking out for people that they feel
no,
could
no,
be
no, no.
no.
It's a trafficker
Okay.
is on a female or a male, I guess, a female's vehicle to let
Right.
another know to go after them.
Oh,
So
that's
if
interesting.
you see a zip tie in your vehicle, women, if you see a zip tie, that is a bad sign and call for help because it means somebody is eyeing you.
That's messed up. That's interesting that they would actually take the time to approach your vehicle and put something on it like that.
Well, no, they
Hmm.
put it on like the back door, like
Okay.
you
Like
don't
on the
even know.
handle or something, right? Like on the
Yeah,
passenger side handle or something.
you won't even notice it. Most people won't even notice it.
Right. Yeah, I've seen something about that. I think it
And after the woman in California got abducted on her run, it's
mhm.
really been making me more wary when I'm on my walks and stuff. I look at vehicles, I take pictures of license plates, I'm looking at vehicles that are coming in and out.
Yeah, well, it's good to be
And
aware of your surroundings for sure. That
well,
AirTag thing was a big problem too. I think Apple had to modify the software with those AirTags. Did you guys see that?
People were tracking other people.
Yeah, right. Because you could take like an AirTag, those little Apple AirTags,
Yeah,
and put it in somebody's, like under
like
their
a
car
tracking
or,
device. Yeah.
right. And it's essentially a tracking device. But if you have an iPhone yourself and one of those AirTags is in your presence for more than a normal period of time, it'll pop up on your phone saying there's an
Oh
AirTag
wow.
near you. You can disable it, call the authorities. I think there's a few different options. So
Oh
at least
wow.
Apple was able to modify the software. But
Would you like to find the dirtbag who planted this?
Yeah.
right,
Yes,
right,
please.
Are they able to
right.
track it back to who planted it?
Well, it's a good question, but I would imagine if they activated it on a device that's linked to them, although I would think these criminals, well, who knows? Maybe some
I
of
would,
them are that dumb, but
yeah,
they might be able to have a device that isn't in their name or something. But
yeah.
any iPhone could track it, I think.
I would
Yeah.
think any smart criminal, not that criminals are smart by any stretch, but
Yeah.
the more crafty ones would have at least a burner phone.
Right. Right.
Mm.
I think you have to have it
Something-
linked to like an Apple ID, so you'd probably have to create one of those
yeah,
somehow, which is
because
a
they
little
enforce
tricky.
putting real details in there.
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
Like,
Who knows how much Apple would even do, I guess. But it's pretty bad PR for Apple, yeah. Mm.
but I don't know if it's like an uptick in it. It's like a social media thing, like if there's actually more trafficking going on,
Hmm.
or if it's just like we're seeing it, people share their stories more, but I'm hearing lots of stories
Yeah,
like
I'm surprised how many times I still see women in the city or, even men too, wearing like earbuds running or,
yeah.
walking at night. And that
But
just seems like a horrible
even
idea to
if
me.
you
Yeah.
don't, even if you don't, I think you just have to step it up because they're getting
Sure.
quite smart. And if two vans like block you in, one story I saw a woman said
Yeah.
two blocked her in at a gas station,
Hmm.
and she had to pull ASS out of there. There's no other way to say
I
it.
saw a few nights ago there was a rape in Rittenhouse Square, which
Mm.
is one of the nicest areas down in Center City. So that's not something you hear about all that time. But things are not so good down there these days, as we know.
Oh, and
Mm.
one other
So
tactic is be careful
mhm.
if you're a female going to a gas station. Sometimes the gas station owner could be in on it. Not all of them, obviously, but once
Oh, okay.
the one
Hmm.
girl shared a story that the gas station owner seemed like he made a call in a different language while she was there, and it seemed kind of
Hmm.
shady. And the outside card link was not working, so she was forced to go
Okay.
inside. It was very, very
Wow.
strange. That's the girl who got blocked in by two vans.
Geez, that's
Uh,
kind of crazy. Who knows?
Like
Could be
I feel
something
like
to it.
women should be careful in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just an abundance of caution.
Well, a lot of weird things are happening now that just didn't happen before, but we can see the direction the country's headed, and it's not so good. So
Well,
I
I
yeah.
hope
What do you
think
that
think?
well, you think you know what I think.
No, I don't
'Cause
know. I don't know.
tell us,
I
Chris.
think it's going to
Tell us.
continue to decline and get worse, and we're going to see more economic turmoil and inflation, and they're going to try to do something with the monetary system. And again, I think there's going to be a push for this digital currency, some sort of digital dollar. I mean, Dan Bongino was just talking about a few nights ago how they're the
I don't
Federal
care what
Reserve
Dan
and
Bongino thinks. I want to hear what Philly Chris thinks.
yeah, what Philly Chris thinks. Yeah, I think we're in a very precarious position, as I've mentioned for a few years now on the air, and time to really stand up for our rights and our freedoms and stand up to this nonsense, get out and vote. But, time to say no to a lot of these things they're implementing. I think we're in big trouble. I think this fall and this winter and the next few years are going to be rough. I don't see how we're not going to enter
And
into
social
another.
credit scores with the digital currency.
Yeah, there's talk of that. I believe they have that stuff in the works already behind the scenes, and at some point they're going to reduce the cash, supply. We've already seen that with all these signs everywhere, cash shortage. Like, where'd all the change go all of a sudden during the pandemic?
Well,
Where'd the cash go? Come on.
because nobody was
You know?
accepting cash during the pandemic.
Yeah, well, they were saying there was some sort of shortage. I mean,
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
I remember those.
The
signs.
shortage is trade in your coins. We'll put it on your card, and we'll just dispose of all the coins. Oh
Mhm.
no, there's a coin shortage, you guys.
Yeah.
Where'd all
And-
the coins get? Like this couldn't be more planned.
Yeah, I mean, we're living pretty much in a tyrannical police state at this point, in my opinion. We're right on the edge of just declining into a very dark period in American history, and I'm very concerned about it.
So what's the
As you guys
plan
know.
to dodge the social credit score system? Can you circumvent it, or do you have to play along to get along? Kind of like if you're a conservative in college and you just want the good grades, so you just put up with the teacher.
Yeah.
What-
Well, I'm trying to get the lowest one possible right now. So, well, I think ways to circumvent the system, independence, grow your own food. We've talked about gold and silver on the show. There's other, these cryptocurrencies. I'm not recommending anything necessarily, but
I wouldn't.
those are things to look into, make your own decisions.
Dag Nabbit
Educate
says there
yourself.
are already many places that do not accept cash anymore. Have
Yeah,
you been to
that's-
any such places.
I've seen some places like that, and then a lot of these online places, obviously you can't use cash. So, and there are places that are, outright just saying you need to pay with a credit card. I've
I've
seen
been
that
to
in the
one place
city.
in Philadelphia where they
Mhm.
said that. They said they
Yeah.
didn't accept cash.
I've
Well-
only seen it in the city. Yeah.
There's Wawa has a few self-checkout kiosks now where they just don't accept cash at all. Like, they're different from the ones at Walmart, which
Mhm.
do accept cash, at least to my knowledge. But there's ones at Wawa that they don't accept cash, they don't accept coupons. You scan your stuff, you pay with a card, and you're out of there.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. They're really pushing for it. This Fed coin, whatever they're going to end up calling it. What's
Yeah.
everybody think in the comments? Let's hear what other folks have noticed or what they think.
What are they gonna
to hear,
call the new currency?
The Fed coin is what I've heard.
Good.
So, yeah.
That's
So the-
not
and
even
there was no
original, though.
to get checked out. You had to check out yourself at Home Depot.
Yeah, right. There's a lot of self checkout. They're getting rid of
I
customer
hate
service.
that. I can't.
I don't
stand
like
If I-
that either.
if I
I'll
ever had the
intentionally wait in line.
opportunity.
Wait,
Yeah.
You guys.
I had to actually scan it all myself, like with an actual scanner. It was kind of
Oh,
fun.
you poor
It was-
thing.
Something always goes wrong too, where you still
Oh,
need a person to come over. I
Yeah,
find.
they're like,
It's
please put the item in the baggage area. It's
Right.
like, I did.
Yeah, right. I did like 5
But
times
what if
already.
I had
yeah.
like a stack of wood? Like that would have been annoying.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's all annoying. They're
It's
just
a-
looking
it
to,
is annoying.
save money and increase the profit margin. And so all the executives and shareholders make money too, but generally it's the elites who are really making out in the end of the day. I just saw a friend of mine sent me something. I didn't get a chance to look at it too, but some of these credit card companies are starting to track certain purchases related to firearms. Did you see that, Mike?
Sure did.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know
That's
how much you know about it,
Big
but
old news now.
I had a friend write me about it from Arizona, and he said that there are certain companies that aren't going to comply, certain banks, I guess. So
mhm.
he's switching all of his stuff over.
Okay, that's good. And I noticed when I was traveling, as you know, I was up in New England recently, and I was really surprised to find this in New Hampshire. I was doing some target practice, with my AR, and I was with a friend of mine, and we went to buy some ammo. We both went to buy some, and they started asking for my name, address, all that stuff. And this is in New Hampshire. And I'm like, are you guys asking because you want to, or are you being told you need to do this? And he said, yeah, basically we're being told that we need to track it because if we sell it to somebody in a state, where they're not allowed to have it. And I said, well, the friend I'm with right now that's about to buy it can't do that. So why don't I do it, and talk to him about paying cash.
DG says, I feel like I'm in the middle of a Wall-E Disney movie at self-checkout. Have you noticed? I think it's Giant has the robot that follows you around. You ever
Oh
seen
yeah,
that?
I've seen that thing.
That
Yeah, I
thing
was
is
messing with it
creepy.
the one time. I was like standing in front of it and
That thing is creepy. I'm waiting
Well-
for the day
Yeah.
somebody shoots that thing.
I think the only reason it's creepy is because they put googly eyes on it. Otherwise, it's just it's no smarter than a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
Oh
What
my
if
God.
it accidentally
creepy.
falls on a kid or something? What's going to happen then?
It's not gonna fall.
Yeah.
It's.
I actually think it's kind of cute.
Was that?
I think it's kind of cute.
It's like a security
robot?
robot, I think, right? Isn't it some
Yeah,
sort of
Well,
security
it'll go
robot?
over, it'll detect spills and like stand in the way
Yeah,
to warn
I think
people.
he's
that-
Oh,
cute.
okay. Okay.
I'm like, hi.
Yeah, I mean, some
I think it's
automation
creepy.
and that stuff's pretty fascinating, but we're
Uh,
just
No, I think
really,
it's creepy.
yeah,
so
yeah.
did-
That
Matter of
is, yeah.
time before they're positioned in every
Chris.
aisle.
Are you sticking with your predictions that the candidates for the 2024 presidential election will be Donald J. Trump and Hillary Clinton?
I'm sticking with it, man, and I think Trump will win. I think he'll be the
Okay.
next president. Yep. But I
All
think,
right.
unfortunately, that's going to push the left way over the edge, and we're going to see things much worse than the riots and the looting. And I think it's going to get, hit a new level of violence and chaos, and there'll be fires in the cities and the streets. And I just think that's where we're headed. I hope I'm wrong. We'll see what happens.
Mm,
But I think a lot of this has already been kind of planned out.
wow.
Mm.
So, Liberty, did you have some stuff that in the doc that you wanted to go over?
Well, first, my mom is listening in, and she said something about Unicoin. Do you know what that is? She couldn't comment. She was trying to.
What was it?
She said Unicoin.
Unicorn?
Yeah.
Let's see.
She believes in unicorns? Your mom believes in unicorns? Hey, Mom.
Unicorn.
Your mom is super cool, by the way. I'm glad she's listening. She knows what's up. She knows what's
Can't
going
figure
on.
out, guys. Can't figure out how to go on YouTube.
Let's look it up. Unicorn.
What's a YouTube?
Unicoin is positioned to be better than traditional crypto. The combined valuation of cryptocurrencies peaked at 3.2 trillion, but has dropped to under 1 trillion in the last year due to the volatility of early coins. Unicoin is a next generation coin that will be backed by assets and addresses volatility. So it'll be backed by assets. That's interesting.
And how do you get this coin? Is it going to be by GPU mining? Is it going to be by proof of stake? What is it issued to you? Can it be taken away like the Canadian government did to those truckers? What are the details of this?
That's funny. The founder is Unicorn Hunters.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
That got good.
Unicoins will be used to develop a diversified portfolio of equity positions in the numerous emerging growth companies. Coin holders will therefore be stakeholders of a major global fund of innovation and will receive dividends.
So one world currency? Is that what I smell?
It sounds more like an investment vehicle if it's going to
Yeah.
be backed by, maybe it's almost like a fund. I'll have to look into that a little more.
There's a little comparison here on their website. It said assets base. With Unicoin, you got an equity portfolio. With Bitcoin, you do not. The founder of Unicoin is Unicorn Hunters, but with Bitcoin, it's anonymous. Well, I don't know if I feel any better about Unicorn Hunters than anonymous, but
Right. It is a funny name. Sounds interesting, though.
I'll just
if
give
it's
it.
backed by something.
Right,
But I think the whole
if I'm going to put my money somewhere, it's going to be in the hands of a reputable establishment like Unicorn Hunters.
I wonder if it'll have a unicorn on the coin. Is there a
Dividends.
picture of it? Yeah.
There's dividends with Unicoin, but there's no dividends with Bitcoin. There's massive media deals with Unicoin. There's no media deals with Bitcoin. Unicoin has low volatility. Bitcoin has high volatility. I don't know. I don't know what I think about it.
Yeah. I don't know. This stuff's also new, I mean, I think the stuff with the Bitcoin and the other cryptos is you have the, it's all off the grid, and you have the ledgers that, keep track of everything and
the incredible potential to crash.
Yeah, that too. But the infrastructure itself, I think, is where the value is, and the fact that you can trade outside of the system. But the challenge too, I think, is going to be if they come out with a Fed coin, or like they're doing in China, they're going to go after these alternate monetary systems and try to make them illegal, or whatever else they may do. I think it's a really good time for gold and silver right now. There's been a recent dip that is actually kind of surprising. So definitely something.
Have you ever thought it was a bad time for gold and silver?
I know.
Yeah, well, I think there's times when it's peaked out that it's not a good time, but I think right now we're in another low point. We're at a floor, so I would expect in the next few weeks it's going to spike again.
The answer is no. He's always thought it was a good time. No,
Well, I'm mentioning it now because I'm following it and it's at a low point.
I feel like every time we're on the show, like an infomercial for gold and silver.
Well, we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. The last time I did make that prediction, it did jump pretty noticeable within a few days after. So I think that's going to happen again in the next few weeks. But
Mike, you skipped over Rita's comment about she read a great book called The Gift of Fear.
I didn't skip over it. I put it on the screen, but I wasn't able to.
Shout out to Rita, and DG read it too. So shout out to both of them. Because looks like they are thinking the same way I am, that you have to be prepared.
The name of that book is called The Gift of Fear by Gavin DeBecker. You know what? I also attended a really, really interesting lecture by John Woodruff. Used to be with retired Pennsylvania State Police, and now he serves as a private investigator, expert witness, whole host of other things. And one thing that he does in his career after he's been retired is he gives these lectures on recognizing predators for women. And I'll tell you, his lecture that I attended was amazing. I was the only guy there. It was an all women's lecture, but I was.
Did they identify you as a predator then for being there?
Yeah, right. Which one? Who doesn't belong here?
If everyone would take notice of the good-looking Italian man in the background.
Get him! No, I was giving a speech on gun law to this same group.
When a man shows up in all women,
right. You're in the back, like taking notes, like nobody look at me. What were some of the things they said to look out for? How to identify a predator?
Well, it was interesting because he said that some of the he talked about some of the characteristics that you see over and over again, such as 30 years old, they live with their parents, and all these other kinds of things. And I remember at the time saying, it sounds an awful lot like my brother. I actually made a speech at his wedding that he's out of the stereotype for the predator now because he got married.
Congratulations.
Moved out, and God bless him, they got kids. But
that's funny.
He was saying he does this really, really interesting. I almost don't want to spoil it for anybody who gets to see it, but he puts on the screen all these different pictures of different people and asks them to guess who's the predator, and it really surprises people.
It's like not what you would.
They all get them wrong. Everybody gets it wrong.
Not I, not DG, and not Rita. I bet you we'd all know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe I could get Woody to come on.
I'll tell you what.
Do like that segment, play the predator game.
Everybody is a predator.
I think you just probably have to pick the one that least looks like the predator, and then you'd probably get it right.
Because the strategy is to assume everybody's a predator until they prove not otherwise. That's how
So every single one of those is predator. Everybody's a predator.
Everyday life. If I go to the food store and I go to my car and there's a white van next to me, you better believe it that I'm hauling those groceries in there. I'm getting in the car and speeding out. I lock all my doors. I mean, I'm a maniac.
Well, nowadays you're not so wrong, Liberty. I mean, I often think when I'm down in the city walking around, like it has to be different it is different for women, it's a different situation walking around.
My mother would tell
Especially
me
if you're alone, yeah.
Remember the guy who would slit your ankles from under the car? I mean, thought about it. Like, forget it.
So what is there anybody who you would not, so you just consider everybody a predator?
When I'm out and about, yeah. Except like usually women and children, but nowadays you don't even know they can be using them as a decoy. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's even like the vans can be pretty.
Everybody stay away from me.
Right.
No, when you're out, you observe I've been doing it since I don't know if it was my mom, when she instilled in me, but I just have always been like that. I've had people approach and try to like quote unquote steal us, and I was the one who stopped it from happening. When I was younger, I remember that story. And I just think for all females, especially, you have to just assume. I'd rather assume than not.
You have pretty good radar, though. I think you pick up on stuff pretty good, Liberty.
Really, Chris?
Yeah.
That's a compliment.
No, I think you're very empathic, Do you get that from your mom?
Yes, she
okay.
like that. But I will say, I wanted to correct one thing. I said I sound like a psychopath before. I can't help it. It's like when I go on an interview, it's like I know what they want to hear, and I so
Mhm.
badly just want to say what I feel, but I just know what they want to hear, and I can't like unhear that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or feel that. Yeah, I think that's like the empathic thing or whatever.
Mhm.
Let's put it to
Hear-
the test.
Mhm.
What does Russ want to hear right now?
Russia, not no,
I know what he wants to hear.
it's not
Yeah.
like ESP.
There'll be
Pizza time.
free food delivered to your house during next
You know
week's
what?
program.
We're not going to be able to make these jokes anymore. Russ is he's
I'm proud of him.
Yeah, what are you
got a
guys
beach
gonna
body
do when
now.
I lose enough weight
See,
Yeah.
I knew it would be
Beach
food.
body,
See?
dude.
and get
Yeah.
all bulky and buff?
I can't wait to see you, man.
Then we'll just make fun of you for fitting into the predator category.
You could be an absolute monster though, Russ, because you're a big guy. You got a big frame and you carry the weight well. So you
Yeah.
could be an absolute monster.
There's pictures of me somewhere. I don't know where they are, but
Mhm.
there's pictures of me somewhere. As a kid, I would walk around with my shirt off all the time. There's pictures of me when I was like 8 years old with a six pack.
Oh, nice. There you go.
So, like, hold on.
A
It's like
belt.
that joke from Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald, the comedian, said that he hit his peak shape when he was 1. He was in the best shape of his life. He said he would stand there and flex when he was 1, and people would. He said, "I look so good that people used to think I was 0." They'd say, "How old are you?" I'd say, "I'm 1. Don't I look great for 1?" And they'd say, "You don't look a day over 0."
What will be Russ's excuse for not fighting Mike G in this big challenge?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I don't want to snap him like Mr. Incredible. You remember
Oh,
when he threw the guy through the wall,
Oh.
like multiple
He-
walls?
He's a
Yeah.
comedian now.
Now he's
Mike, I don't want to hurt you.
He's a comedian now.
So it sounds like you're up for the challenge, Russ.
Well, I've never been in a fight in my entire life, so I don't know if I have a bunch of strength that I don't even know about.
I can tease this to everybody. I don't think I'm going to end up doing it because there
'Cause you're
are certain
scared?
things about the program that don't align with my beliefs, my values, my morals. But, however, I was offered the opportunity to compete in combat sports against a liberal talk show host
Oh
on
yeah.
a very, very large platform.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You gonna do
And
it, or you saying you won't
I
do it?
almost instantly, in my head, I instantly said yes.
Mm.
And I said, well, let me take a look into it. And there are just some things that go along with the show that I really don't agree with. And I don't know that I can do it in good conscience.
Okay.
But it would be amazing to have the opportunity to do that on a big stage
Mm-hmm.
with a ton of viewers,
Sure.
not only in person but people watching. I mean, they've got millions of people watch these things.
Can you elaborate on the reasoning, or you don't want to touch on that? Yeah. Not to put you on the spot
sometimes
or anything.
let's say this. Sometimes you look at some of these events, whether it's combat sports or it's another kind of entertainment event, and the way they portray women is not good, right?
Oh, I see. Okay.
And some other things that they do are not necessarily respectful to people. It's just that there's a couple of things that really made it so that I don't think I can do it in good conscience.
I
But
gotcha.
it's
Okay.
led me to sort of ask around and see if there's another opportunity to do something like that,
Mhm.
because that would be great.
It would be.
Frankly, I would love it. It would be a great time.
Mhm.
Hopefully, it would be for a good cause, and we get to donate some money to charity.
That'd be great.
And I'm all about getting in there for a good fight. So
Sure.
it's something I haven't done in a very long time.
No, I'd love to see
And
that. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Mike's gonna get beat up by Johnny Bravo.
We'll have to get that on the calendar. It'll give you something to work toward, Mike. Russ.
I'm like
no,
that old
I'll
dog that's
let you
got
guys
one
know
good bite
when-
left in me, right?
Right.
Russ, would
right.
you really do it? Like if there was like some rules that nobody can get truly hurt, would you actually do it, Russ? Like with headgear? I don't know.
Yeah, no knives, no
Headgear,
nunchucks.
shin guards.
Oh.
You
I'll
can
let
have
you wear-
throwing stars though.
I'll
Ninja
let you
stars
wear
are
a chest
okay.
protector. I'll let you wear a barrel on suspenders, like the guy in Raging Bull.
Wait, a chest protector? Do you mean a bra?
Excuse me.
No, I meant like
That's
a
funny.
catch. You could wear. You could dress up like a hockey goalie.
We'll do it on ice.
I went to a hockey game. And
Can we have the clowns like they have at the rodeo and stuff?
Yeah, that would be great.
I'll dress up as a clown.
Yeah,
the
all
nice ninja might make an appearance.
Yeah, the nice ninja could be there. Yeah, that'd be cool.
After all these years, he's been on a 30-year hiatus.
That's right. I'll have to start training. I'm not quite as flexible as I used to be.
Oh, jeez.
Hmm.
I'll have to make it so I can just bench press Mike G. Mike, how much do you weigh? I need to know. I need to know what I'm working toward.
How much do you bench right now?
I don't have a bench, so
And bench pressing isn't going to help you. You know that, right?
I mean, it would still look cool.
I don't know that I've ever seen a fight where somebody was bench pressing the other person.
Right.
And even if so, that's not a very effective maneuver in combat sports.
Put me down. You're bullying me.
Stop holding me in the air like that.
Stop putting me in the air. Put me down.
That would be funny though. Should just choreograph the whole thing.
Liberty, did you have anything else you wanted to watch before we call it a night?
No, I think it was more of what we did last week, more blood boiling clips.
Okay,
which
you
I've been
want to
listening
save it for next
all,
week? Or?
all week. Like, I cannot stop. I'm obsessed.
Well,
I
didn't
think
you
I
have
missed
this
my
one
call.
video that you wanted to show for sure? Is it some kind of political parody?
Oh, I put at the top. I just said I thought that was funny. That
All right, let's check it out.
All right. We may have a good guest lined up next week. We're working on too, just so everybody
What
knows.
are we doing? The one that's called Must Watch or whatever?
Yeah, that one.
according to me.
No,
Just
do the one that says "Do not watch under any circumstances."
I don't know if I can do that.
We should mark this episode too. I think we made some predictions this evening again. So
I'm corny, so don't. 9:22.
9:22. Can you remember that, Mike? 9:22.
9:22.
9:22.
9:22.
Or 9:23.
Paulson, Republican and awesome. Love God and family and the Constitution.
Where's
Oh,
the
I've seen this.
No video.
Hey, Utah District 12, listen. Hey, Utah District 12, listen up right here. There's a new name on the ballot for the Senate this year. My name is Linda Paulson, Republican and awesome. Love God and family and the Constitution.
Love God, love my family, and I love my Constitution, and I love my 2A. Try to take it, then I'm shooting. Democrats too woke, and that's why they always losing. If you vote for Linda, District 12 gonna be booming. Ain't so bold, Linda Paulson. Why you stalling? She gon' have Utah ballin'. She so awesome, and she pro-life, back to blue, and she for free speech. And she pick God first. Ain't no way she gon' get beat. That's okay.
My name is Linda Paulson.
That one slaps.
And an awesome.
what?
Good for that guy. I said that one
Yeah.
slaps. Good for that guy.
Well, the reason I put it was because it was just funny because her original campaign, everybody was making fun of her. And it was like, so, you know, they were saying really stupid. And then this guy just came and remixed it and was like, bam. I just thought
There
it
you
was
go. Good stuff, Liberty. Thank you.
You guys know about you about to lose your job?
Cute.
What
Oh,
was that,
scared.
Mike?
You scared Russ for a minute.
Oh.
What did I do?
No, you guys don't know about that? Russ, click the one and I put in the chat over here. Let's see that video.
One that you put in the chat.
Yeah, I just put a link in the chat over there.
Mike. Mike.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the grumpiest producer of all radio.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Can you not reach the chat?
No, Mike.
You can't reach the chat?
Get the bloody dock open.
It's not too long. You might just be able to type it right in the URL.
Oh, okay.
I love it. I love you, Russ. Can't wait to see you all ripped, man. gonna be great. We'll have a pizza party when you get down to your goal weight.
I feel like, Chris, we should have a pizza taste test at this DiGiorno that he's been doing.
Yeah, we should do that.
It'll kill Mike, so it'll actually
Right.
literally kill him.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah. Mm.
What is this
All right.
vertical video? Whose idea was this?
Here we go
Well,
again.
Vertical video. Good gravy. What is this? Does this
Oh
have
yeah,
swearing?
about to lose your job. Yeah.
Oh wait, hey.
Excuse
How do
me.
I? I hate vertical video. I hate it with a passion.
All vertical video, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, all
Yeah.
vertical video. It is the objectively incorrect kind of video.
I mean, I agree with you. I don't know why people don't shoot horizontal.
And it's all spinny now.
A lot of people just hold their phone up that way because they're used to it, I guess.
Yeah, well, they're holding it wrong.
True.
Change my mind. They're holding it wrong.
Yeah. Internet bad at the North Pole there, Russ?
No, I don't think so.
When somebody's trying to detain me when I don't want to be detained for no goddamn reason. Yeah.
Wow, thanks,
that's how the
guys.
fuck I
Can't
am.
wait to edit that out.
Naturally.
An hour 47 minutes in.
Anybody who knows
We're okay.
the fuck are you talking about? Why are you detaining me? You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. Get this thing. You about to lose your job because you are detaining me or nothing.
He's trying to hold a straight face.
I think I've seen it.
Russ, go to the doc. There's one on the top that's pretty good.
Go to the
About to
dog.
lose your job.
Yeah.
I love that she thinks just because she doesn't want to be detained, he
Why
can't
you
detain
Who
her.
wants to be detained?
I don't
Why
want
would
to be
Because you're
anybody want
detaining
that?
me for nothing.
About to lose your job. It's funny.
I just have one thing to say.
I'm vertical. Oh my goodness.
Play it.
Play it out. Play it live.
Are we gonna get matched?
Turn it up. That's great. One more time. One more time. One more time.
One more time.
Oh, come on, Mike.
One more time. Nice and loud.
Why don't you sing it this time, huh?
All right, we'll sing along. Everybody sing along.
No, don't do that. The internet delay is terrible.
Mm.
You want me to play it again?
One more time. One more time. Run it back.
About to lose.
Nice
your
and loud.
job.
Thing to say. Hang on here.
You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. Get this thing. You about to lose your job.
You about to lose your job.
Is now a good time for a headphone warning?
I think so. Oh, the internet's wonderful.
Do you think he's about to lose his job?
I think so. See what
Yeah.
happens.
DG says,
Unless
love
there's
it,
some more
needed that
Narfador.
laugh.
Some more
Needed
Narfador.
that
You never
laugh.
know. Hmm.
Well, here's a laugh, DG. Liberty got an echo, the Amazon kind.
Mm.
Oh, no.
You're not allowed to laugh.
Wow, Russ. I feel like you just, what's that called when you like put somebody's phone number on the internet?
Right,
Doc
right.
Liberty.
I don't buy things from China. I will say, like, from no, I have to say this. People who are like buying clothes, like Amazon clothes and this and that, like I don't buy that stuff. Like what I do buy is like something that I actually need. I will look it in there and just makes it convenient. Like I like this specific hair stuff or specific deodorant. Like that's what I order from there, or specific food from Vitamin Shop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good.
Uh-huh.
But I
Well,
don't.
with your dollars, as Mike says.
Yeah, I hate Amazon.
Yeah.
I blocked
Yeah,
them on my network.
I have
using
a
my-
question, Russ. Why do you dislike it so much again?
Because they're a ripoff in like a bunch of ways. You know how much so I get those those iced teas I used to drink, okay, those are like $1 a pop. They're like a liter of brisk iced tea. Okay. For 12 of those, if you just go to a random store that has them, it's $12. If you try and get them on Amazon, it's like $54.
Yeah.
I
Well,
kid you not. I can
Really?
right
Why would
now.
it be that much?
Because Amazon is for buttheads. Change my mind. I dare you. You can't.
Because if something does cost the same thing, you don't have to buy everything on Amazon.
Right.
But if you did find something that did cost the same thing and it saved you time from
It's probably because of the weight.
breaking up your day and going to the store and everything like that.
It's a shipping weight, probably.
Yeah, that's the issue
Yeah.
with, I'm sure, a case of water costs
Yeah.
more on Amazon too, right?
Right. Yeah.
I see a video that said from this like CEO kind of guy, like a, sort of like a mic type of job, and they said like his time is more valuable than things like that. So like if he's saving time from going to the grocery store, then or like Amazon, he'll pay the extra worth it because his time is more valuable than that.
54 stupid dollars.
Okay, so don't
That
buy
actually looks really
tea, watermelon, lemonade.
Watermelon.
1 liter
It's
case of
actually
15
very
from Amazon.
tasty.
That
and
looks delicious.
It's like 90 calories, I think.
Well, you can get $50 off instantly if you get their credit card.
Ice cream.
Wow. You get it for $4.
Yeah, there you go. That's probably why they're doing that.
Pretty sure that only works once.
That's like a lost leader to get the credit card. That's what that has to be.
Yeah.
They call it like a lost leader. It's like when stores sell things below cost to promote something.
They do it just to get it out the door and sell more shelf space.
Like in my early days back at Circuit City, when I was in sales, we had some CD players that they would advertise for like $79, but they actually cost Circuit City over that, like $100. So they might lose $20.
People in the door.
Get you in the door.
You upsell them.
Right. And then either that, sometimes they wouldn't be in stock. You'd have to give them a rain check, and all that. But generally.
Aren't there legal issues with that if you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
sell something that, or you're advertising something that isn't there?
It would be lousy though, but as soon as people come in, I'd be like, do you want a remote control? And they'd be like, yeah, well, that doesn't have a remote control. You have to do everything like it wouldn't come with a remote and just be super basic and, have like one output, one input. Certain devices were just super limited,
So
but we'd still sell them.
Yeah. Well, I would think something like that would also be like, oh yeah, this is $20 cheaper, but then the CDs are marked up.
Like they advertise a car that's there and they show up and you're like, well, did you want brakes on your vehicle?
Right, exactly. Right.
Oh, this one doesn't have brakes.
Exactly. Yeah. Sounded like a good deal that one line, didn't it? Yeah. That one doesn't have an engine actually.
You were looking for an engine in the car. I'm sorry.
That one's a frame on wheels.
Right.
Uncle Jerry and I, when he was helping me find a car out in Oklahoma, and I ended up buying the T-Bird off of Craigslist for like $1,000. I think.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
97 Ford Thunderbird. I drove that thing till the wheels came off.
Awesome.
But when we were looking through these Craigslist ads, and this guy wrote this long paragraph. I think there's one sentence in the paragraph about this car, all the different features, and he says the only thing is that it doesn't have brakes. And Uncle Jerry said that he could have left that out when we show up. He was like, "Oh, you wanted brakes? I thought you were a real man. I'm sorry.
Right.
Real men don't use brakes.
What do you need brakes for? Just use your feet."
Fred Flintstone.
Real men don't use brakes.
That's pretty funny.
It kind of throws a red flag when a car just needs brakes.
Yeah, it's just a minor.
Brakes.
The only thing is that
even I can replace brakes.
Like, are the brakes missing? The master cylinder? There's no brake lines. Like, all of the brake components are gone. What are we talking
probably
about?
It's probably what it was.
But you get a free hat.
And here's your free hat, sir.
Free test drives too. Just don't come back.
That's great.
As long as you don't try to use the brakes, you'll be fine.
Anything else for the good of the order?
I'm good. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All
Liberty, I'm sorry I threw you under the bus.
Thank you to all our loyal listeners for checking in. Don't forget to tell your friends about the Mike G in the Morning program. And tell them to subscribe to our channel. and like our videos so we can get the word out and expand the Mike G in the Morning family.
Let's do it.
Don't forget to comment on the video. But that's all the time we've got for today. Stick around for We the People, the Constitution Matters. Pastor David Whitney, Professor Phil Duffy. I will be joining as your legal analyst. We miss you, Ellie. Daddy loves you.